Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Prop Queen Pod. It is the Prop Queen Ariel Epstein taking you up till 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I think this put me into the wrong camera. Okay, no, it's the right camera. It just doesn't look crystal clear today. I don't know. Anyway, maybe the screen's a little, nope, I'm right. It's the laptop. Oh my goodness, it put on the wrong camera. I knew that something looked wrong. There we go. All right, we're back. Now we're more HD. What's up, Jamie? 34. Hey, Mark. Just getting settled in. Got back really late last night from my parents' house. So super pumped to be back for a few days. And then all next week, I'm going to be at my parents' house sitting my dog and their dog, Jax. So going to be change of scenery. But hopefully we are back and better than ever. Good party. What party? What party was I at? I know over the weekend that I was at Premier Lacrosse with Kelly in Vegas. We had a great time. Premier Lacrosse throws an awesome, couple of days of games. If you've never been, you should. I know here in New Jersey, we have the championships on my birthday weekend. That should be fun. Oh, the Premier Lacrosse party. Yeah, that was fun. I'm not going to talk any sad dog stories. I've already posted all about that, and I don't want to cry either. So we're going to talk winners. We're going to talk Major League Baseball. We've got WNBA. Tom Vecchio is going to join the show around 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I am really cutting it down to the wire. I don't even know where my phone is. Oh, crap. I think it's over there. I really need to get these plays in for someone to get a hit today in my Splash Sports contest. So if you haven't signed up already, it's $15. Just sign up at splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. We are running the Hits Survivor again. I think it's our last one to football season, and then we're going to have a Anytime Touchdown contest. So I'm excited. This is just to get you through the Major League Baseball season. If you aren't a big baseball person, you just have to bet on 2 players for tonight to get a hit, and then it's 1 player the rest of the way. There's so much juice now on anyone to get a hit. So I think that it's really fun to do this. What do you use to put the podcast on air? StreamYard, Earl. I use StreamYard. It's really easy to use. You could stream, you could pre-record. So I highly recommend StreamYard for anybody that wants to stream and do their own stuff. Anyone could do their own stuff these days, which is nuts. I've been telling all these young kids in college how much easier it is now to just be your own brand. I wish I had that, so I didn't have, but yeah, StreamYard. Mark, Kings played this weekend, Canadian Cookie Derby. Oh, okay. I can ask him if he does that. I'm sure he does. I'll reach out to Sandwich this week and see what he does. Some other crazy things that happen in sports. I don't know what you guys feel is the most big sports stories of the day, but the Shohei Ohtani and the agent being sued over the $240 million Hawaii real estate project is kind of crazy to me. How many more times are we going to have Ohtani pop up and be like, nah, it's not him. It's not him. No way Ohtani does that. He's an angel. I don't know. So that was a little weird. What else? We've got football starting real soon. I'm really interested to see what happens in college football. Kelly in Vegas leaves in a couple of days for Ireland, and I'm having a lot of FOMO from it. World Series set for October 24th. Hader on the IL with a shoulder strain. What else was big? Houston, Correa. They cheer for him. They boo Bregman. It's kind of funny. What do you see, guys? Jordan Love out. Yeah, that's what I was forgetting. Jordan Love with the finger injury, but it was on his left hand. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as the headlines are going to make it. It's on his left hand, so it's not his throwing hand. And Love out is an upgrade for the Packers. That's not true. That's not true. And Shedeur Sanders also continuing to just be annoying. NFL preseason. Have you guys been profitable in NFL preseason? Packers are -3.5 against Detroit. Of course, Shawn Michael knows that. Let's see. NFL preseason. We've got Friday games, Titans, Falcons, Chiefs, Seahawks. Saturday, Miami and Detroit. Carolina, Houston. Packers, Colts -6.5 this weekend. Listen, I don't think that the Jordan Love injury is going to be impacted week 1. It's not his throwing hand. If it's his throwing hand, it's a different story. But there are many of quarterbacks who have dealt with some kind of injury on their throwing hand and have still won football games. Jordan Love will be just fine on his non-throwing hand to make it available for week 1. Week 1. Awesome. Future specials on FanDuel. Nothing important yet. Divisions, the Packers right now, plus 240 behind the Lions at plus 155. Vikings plus 290. Bears plus 550. I don't know. Love could throw an interception with either hand. It could affect handoffs. That's silly. We're being ridiculous. We still have like a month until the season starts, guys. Sports Guru Vegas, 4-1 in preseason, 2-0 Chargers. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Go Chargers. Did you guys see, by the way, that Jim Harbaugh was at a baseball game yesterday and he was in like mezzanine? Like he wore like loge seats. Like he wasn't even in like what looked like a suite. I thought that was a little weird. It was really funny over the weekend so on Thursday, I was at my friend Chris Thurston's house. His name's CT Bets on social media. You could give him a follow. He does Boston media, big sports better. We're all at Chris's house, and it's all just sports bettors. Everybody's a gambler. Everybody's at Chris's house on Thursday night for a big barbecue in Boston. Everyone's betting preseason football. And, of course, my Ravens are on, which I thought that line was a complete over-exaggeration. Booking the Ravens as 6-point dogs was just silly. So, of course, the Ravens end up covering. But it was really funny that on Thursday night, it was the Seahawks-Raiders game, which was like the revenge of Pete Carroll and Geno Smith going up against the Seahawks. My buddy, Chris, decides he's going in on Seahawks second half, money line. And we end up to like, I don't know, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, waiting for this game. And my friend is like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way they have to kick a field goal. Like, it's preseason. Go for it. Why are you kicking a field goal? The end of the game, they're down 3. So he's like, they got to go for it, right? It's the preseason. They kick a field goal, tie the game, he ends up pushing. Like, I waited up until 1:30 in the morning for that BS. No, absolutely not. That was ridiculous. Obviously, there's no overtime in preseason, but my friend thought there was. I don't think that it's a thing, though, that like you could like optionally do that. Yesterday, if you follow the PropQueen.com newsletter, I did hit the Andrew Abbott over 5.5Ks, so that was fun. That was the only, have you ever had those moments where you just have such a busy day and you place your bets and then you just completely forget about them? Yeah, Ravens plus 6 at home. That was fun. Over Shawn Michaels at 14-2. Like when you ever place a bet and you just completely forget you placed it, then you have to think, oh my gosh, like, did I hit my bet? Like, this is hours later. Yesterday, I finally looked and I was like, oh yeah, nice. We cashed Andrew Abbott over his strikeouts. That's nice. Did your fee the past 2 days haven't lost? That's great. You check your bets 1 time, 100 times a day. I usually would, but yesterday I was so busy that I just totally forgot because I placed the bet on Sunday night. So I bet Abbott over 5.5Ks at minus 140 on Sunday night, and then I just completely forgot about it yesterday. I was just really busy. Bad. Anyway, I'm back to it today. What panel? I don't have a panel. But if you would like to get the chat going, Universe Galaxy, I don't know why you think Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time. You must be a LeBron guy. Okay. You can start a fight in the chat if you want. I'm sure Sean would love to fight someone not named Ariel Epstein. WNBA action tonight. 2 games on the slate. Major League Baseball, we got a big slate tonight. If anyone has someone that would get a hit, let me know. No, I don't let people call into my show. It's the comment section, and then I just react to it. I have guests on the show, but not from the chat. Jordan is the GOAT. Oh, I love this. You could tell she's a typical Michael Jordan fan. Only a Michael Jordan fan would just randomly bring up LeBron James in a negative way and then assume you're a LeBron James fan. Have you met? Okay, who's the worst fan base? As a Yankees fan, I would admit that Yankees fans are probably pretty annoying. I think Cowboys fans are annoying. I think LeBron fans are annoying. I'm not going to Scotland, Matt, unfortunately. Kelly's going to Ireland with her aunt. Sean, if any, you're wrong. And if you wanted to beat me on one-on-one, let's go. Okay, we're going to have a fight in the chat. Jordan's a better fisherman than LeBron, too. Oh, my God. That's unreal. It's true. Actually, Jordan was at the when I was in North Carolina, there's something called the Blue Marlin contest, and Michael Jordan actually did it. Kay says Cowboys or Red Sox fans. Ooh. Are Yankees or Red Sox fans worse? That's what I don't know. Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time. If you knew the details, you would agree. And again, only a Michael Jordan would label LeBron fans the worst. I never said the worst. MJ over LeBron. If anyone wants to debate me one-on-one, let's go. I don't know why the Universe Galaxy picked this chat to fight in today, but I'm all for it here on the YouTube at Prop Queen Sports. I appreciate you. Yeah, he took second in the White Marlin over the weekend. That was pretty cool. It's cool to have a hobby like that. Lakers or Red Sox fans, Matt Reichel says, are the worst fan base of all time. Honestly, sports bettors are probably the worst. Let's be honest. Sports bettors have to be the worst of all time. Sports bettors, we're sitting there confusing the hell out of everybody in the stadium or on a sports book. Like, I sit at Yankees games in a Yankees hat, Yankees jersey, and was rooting for Marcus Stroman to get taken out of the game. It's ridiculous. Like, Sean, you're right. Taylor Swift fans are probably the worst, and my best friend is one of them. She freaked out yesterday that Taylor Swift is going on the Kelsey podcast tomorrow. I'm like, who cares? I'm one of those people that just doesn't care about celebrities. I really don't. Universe Galaxy, if you're going to come here and talk about Michael Jordan fans being the worst, then tell us why Michael Jordan fans are the worst. You haven't told us. All you're doing is baiting people into fighting right now, but you haven't given us one reason for why you believe that Michael Jordan fans are the worst. I wasn't even talking NBA. You brought this up, so tell us why Michael Jordan fans are the worst. This wasn't even part of the show today. I was going to talk about winners. I was talking about Major League Baseball and the WNBA, and we were talking about Jordan Love hurting a finger that doesn't matter. But you bring up Michael Jordan fans into the chat and talking about, I told you, if you don't like MJ, then you like LeBron. I'm going to be shocked if you don't like LeBron. Who do you like then? Like, answer me who you like or who is the best fan base. I'm loving this. Universe Galaxy on YouTube. You have the VSiN prop with the lefties versus Giants. Prop is under K's or over. VSiN. Well, I wouldn't deem it a VSiN prop. You mean the prop I mentioned on VSiN? So lefties against the Giants. All right, we can talk about lefties versus the Giants real quick, and then I'm going to bring on Tom Vecchio. I just can't believe that we're talking about this irrelevant conversation. The NBA doesn't start for 3 months, and honestly, the NBA doesn't even start in my brain until Christmas. Like, I don't even care. I don't even care. Michael Jordan retired. Like, this argument's so stupid. I've literally put everything that you have written in the comment section on the show because this is so entertaining for me. I'm always negative, Universe Galaxy. I literally, you've never even talked in the chat before. I'm always negative. I'm very rarely positive. Everything I do, I bet something, I say it's probably going to lose. I entered the Splash Sports contest today for who's going to get a hit in Survivor. I say I'm probably going to lose. I'm not an optimistic bettor. And I'm certainly not optimistic about LeBron James or Michael Jordan argument. Like, this is so stupid. It's an argument that's never going to be solved, ever. So let's talk real things. Marley's already mad because I'm getting angry. Sorry, Marley. I didn't mean to distract you. San Francisco Giants strike out way more against lefties. 17-13 over under. Lefty starters averaging 5.4 strikeouts a game against the Giants. So it's lefties against the Giants that are profitable, by the way. She says a lot of things and there's an answer for everything she writes and she's not even consistent in her own points. I don't know what you're talking about. I literally don't even know what you're talking about that I'm not consistent in my own points. I don't fight on this show. I give you out bets that are irrelevant tomorrow. Like if we bet something today, it's not relevant again tomorrow. So I don't know what points I'm inconsistent about. Jesus Christ, let's bring on Tom Vecchio. Tom, do you like Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
I like them both. The correct answer is Wilt Chamberlain. There's your answer. Or Kareem.
Great.
That would be my answer. Wilt or Kareem.
Thank you. And Tom is going to come and bring this show back. We're going to bring this back because I was getting heated. I haven't had a bad weekend. I don't need this guy coming into the chat telling me I'm inconsistent about my arguments. I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't have arguments. I've never brought up MJ versus LeBron on this show in my freaking life.
I don't know why NBA is being discussed on, August 12th.
We don't even know if LeBron's going to be on the Lakers. Like, what the hell do we know?
Also true. You mentioned the Jordan Love news and Jordan, just talking about him in general. Maybe that, it's like a dog whistle for, I'm not going to say Marley, but maybe Jordan fans are like, oh, I have to bring up Jordan. Regardless.
Okay, let's talk some bets. I also accidentally left my phone, I think, in my living room. So I completely forget what bets you gave me. I think you gave me 2 or 3, right?
2, Michael Wacha for the Kansas City Royals, under 4.5 strikeouts. That was sitting at -116. He's having a decent year when it's all said and done. He's just not a big strikeout pitcher. Strikeout rate this year is at 18%. And while the Nats aren't a good team overall, they have a 20.1% strike rate versus righties. That's the 6th lowest in the league. So, you can say that they're somewhat disciplined at the plate, but when they don't just swing and miss. They make contact. They get out a lot. They've also, as a team, on 97 WRC plus versus righties. So, they're factually below league average versus righties, but they're not swinging and missing. They're not the Rockies with a 27% strikeout rate versus righties, combined with Wacha, not being a high strikeout pitcher. So, there's a chance that he may go over his outs prop, but still fall under his strikeout prop.
Even at home, you're not afraid of an under?
No. I mean, we see a handful of starts from him. Yeah, he's at 6. He had that 1-9 strikeout performance versus Tampa, but I just like the spot for him to be good. He's been pretty solid, but he's not going to be piling up the strikeouts.
Then I know you've got a total bases prop also,
yeah,
right?
Let's go to Ketel Marte for the Diamondbacks. Wild game last night versus the Rangers. Could be much of the same tonight. Jack Leiter for the Rangers really hasn't been good. He went through stretches where he was good, but if you look at him versus lefties overall in the season, lefties at home, the numbers are getting worse in July and August. Obviously, it's a super small sample size. It's only a handful of innings in August that he has, but Ketel Marte's having an awesome season versus righties, a 178 WRC plus. He has a 277 ISO versus righties. The fly ball rate there is there. The hard contact rate is there. Last night he was 0 for 4, but he was 0 for 4, and none of them were strikeouts. They were all balls in play. Decent exit velocity at 90 plus. So, when we see a player that is getting out, I always want to know how they are getting out. As long as you're not wasting chances at the plate with strikeouts. If you told me a player gets out 0 for 4, he's constantly putting the ball in play, he's at least seeing the ball and he's hitting it, and he'll be on the right side of variance in one of the coming games.
Yeah, I like it because just looking at props.cash, let me get it up on the screen. It really likes him today too, Ketel Marte.
Okay, it's good to know.
So that just hits, but total bases, let's see, 2025, and then Arizona is, are they, why am I?
On the road.
On the road, okay.
Yeah.
So they're away against, you said Jack Leiter, so a righty at night. So that's cash in 6 of the last 10, 65% of his last 20, 4 of the last 5. He's averaging just over 2 total bases in his last 5 and just about 3 in his last 20.
That's good. And Post Malone here has Ketel Marte in the hits contest, which is good to see.
Oh, yeah.
White Iverson. I was just trying to make a quick joke, but Yeah, I mean, I like Ketel Marte is just an awesome hitter, like he is, and that's
I'm
what it
gonna
comes
add
down
him to my list. I have to write it down. Ketel
I would
Marte, add to
say,
the list.
yeah, I would say Ketel Marte. The other option, when you texted me before saying like a player that you may need.
Yeah, we want the players for anyone who doesn't know, by the way. So Kelly in Vegas and I have been doing the Splash Sports contest. We started a new one. We did one last like a little bit ago, and someone made like close to 10 grand. So now we're gonna try. If we get more and more people, the more people we get, the more money in the pot. So if we get the max amount of people in, we get it up to 15K for one person to survive. So tonight you have to pick 2 people to just get a hit. It's $15 to enter. 15. It's a Marley, what are you doing? Splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. And you join for $15. You get up to like 10 entries. And tonight you bet 2 players to get a hit. And then tomorrow on is 1 player to get a hit until we get a survivor. So who's going to get a hit today?
I would say Ketel Marte, have to go with that. And the other one would be Bo Bichette at home. He's taking on, it's not Ben Brown anymore. Javier Assad is stepping in for the start for the Cubs, but it really doesn't matter. He's been super solid. And like looking back at his recent games kind of skews things. They had that series last week versus the Rockies where they scored literally 45 runs or 48 runs, whatever it was. So like looking at his recent game log, you're like, oh, he has 3 hits, 2 hits literally every single. Like, no, we have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, but he's been solid. Otherwise, Javier Assad has not been good. The Cubs bullpen has kind of taken a step back, and also the Cubs as a team have taken a step back, obviously with the Brewers being super hot. So Ketel Marte and Bo Bichette.
Shawn Michaels says he takes the approach of seeing who has a 2.5 hits, runs, and RBI, and that's who he chooses to get a hit.
I would assume those are at plus money, and that's certainly a very valid way to do it. Instead of just going to 1.5, going for that step up. If you are absolutely getting plus money every single time across the board, all it takes is all it would take would be a solo shot, right? You get a hit, you get a run, and you get an RBI. So if you are willing to go with a lower win rate, right? Like you wouldn't have to win at 55%. If you could win at a lower win rate and still get plus money, you could probably come out net positive long run. Like you obviously can't do it over like a week sample size and give yourself, 7 chances, 10 chances. Like that's not a big enough sample size. But if you were always literally getting plus money, it's probably something to consider.
Tom, I haven't spoken to you in a while. And so in the last couple of weeks, I have been on a bunch of shows, whether it's VSiN, whether it's here, whether it's, I don't know, it's Wager Talk, everybody, including Mike Palm, who's like the assistant head of Circa.
Yeah.
Was like, yeah, you should bet the Padres. And you know me, I hate the Padres. This team has screwed me out of money for the last 3 years. Was there a team after the trade deadline that you said this team still has value?
After the trade deadline, that's a good question. Obviously, where things stand now are completely different with like the Mariners aren't they like 3rd now in terms of like World Series price? Am I crazy on? Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. World Series, at least on FanDuel, they take a step back after last night. So it's Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Tigers, Mariners, Astros. Like the Blue Jays at 12.20 might be the Padres. It might honestly still be the Padres. And I said this, about them. Obviously, fortifying the bullpen is great, but Michael King came back. He's a great pitcher. Mm-hmm. Nick Pivetta is great. Dylan Cease is great. And Yu Darvish came back. And I understand that Yu Darvish is not the pitcher he once was, but he at least has playoff pedigree, which I know some people will buy into. And even if you don't get 6-7 innings out of him, getting 4 innings out of him, 3 innings out of him. And if you're if they have to play in the wild card, if they don't win the NL West, they have to play in the wild card. A Cease Pivetta, Michael King, or Cease Pivetta games 1 and 2, and then a King Darvish bullpen kind of game is absolutely fine. White Iverson's also make the point of Shane Bieber coming back. Also very true. It is a big question mark because him making the rehab starts and then coming up to the major league level, that is very unknown. So they are being underrated at a point where if they win the AL East for the Blue Jays, they're going to have home field. And that's not nothing when it comes to baseball. So having a good pitching staff.
Unless you're the Orioles.
Yeah, that's true. But again, the same thing with Bieber. Even if he comes back and, he's not going to give you 6 innings, sure. But, there are times within the Blue Jays pitching staff that you're not confident outside of Barrios, Gossman. Bassett has struggled as of late. So, okay, so give me a Bassett, Bieber, give me 3 innings each, 2 innings each. And then we're actually working with something that like you can have confidence in. So I would still say the Blue Jays. And yeah, I know the Padres have burned you before, but it still might be them.
Well, the Padres are at plus 330 right now on FanDuel to win the division, but with the victory on Tuesday today and a Dodgers loss in Anaheim, the Padres will have a share of first place of the NL West for the first time since entering play on May 11th. And San Diego hasn't held a share of the NL West lead this late into a season since 2010. And then the two teams are going to face off 6 times in a 10-day stretch starting on Friday. So at plus 330, the Padres have some value to win the division.
They do. Honestly, I would say if you like them to win the division, I would bet them before that series starts. So you could, in theory, just have a good ticket when those 6 games are over, at least when the first series is over.
Right, because obviously you're not going to bet it if they suck for the next 6 games.
But my overall take would be I would not be betting on the Padres to win the division, because if you think they're good enough to win the division, like bet
them to win the NL.
Right. Like you should have a higher goal. If they're good enough to get past the Dodgers, they're good enough to like go further into the playoffs, and you should have like your sights set higher rather than plus 330. This is not to say that, plus 330 isn't the bet to make, or you just want to have a little piece because you're not confident in the playoffs, whatever it might be. But if I was doing both, I would definitely look them to win the NL overall.
Switching over to the NFL, we are like a month away from the NFL season starting. Preseason football is underway. What have you noticed so far?
Well, last week we got, 14-2 to the over, 14-2-1. I believe one of the games was a push, the game that got ended early due to the injury. But that's crazy. Certainly not something that I would expect. I would say maybe it skews over a little bit. Scoring is not, the more I think about it in retrospect, like I can understand why the scoring is. There's a lot of rookie coaches. I also think that a lot of teams now are approaching preseason. Prior, it would be okay, like let's get a feel for things, and then third, fourth quarter comes around, we'll just run the ball, get rid of the clock, whatever it is. But I think coaches, and I don't want to say this is what Harbaugh and the Ravens have done, but like they want to win games, and that is instilling a culture, like the confidence of the team out. They're going to try, regardless if it's preseason, week 1, or the postseason. They're going to go out and give effort. And the third and fourth stringers are still fighting for roster spots. So if you're instilling this belief of rookie head coaches, Liam Cohen on the Jags, like, yeah, they lost that game, but that was a high scoring game. Like they want to instill this culture that we're going to try every time we're out there. Dan Campbell and the Lions brought that since he was there. It's like, we're going to be out there. We're going to try and win. It doesn't matter if this game is meaningless. And that causes more points to be scored because players are actually giving it their all.
We have a question in the chat for you, Tom, about going into pick'em pools, and if you do them, and what's your take on regular pick'em and confidence points?
I do pick'em pools just with my friends. No Circus Survivor type of thing. But I would just do, like, I've done both. Like, you have to pick every game every week against the spread. Just one week Survivor. I think they're fine. I would just choose regular pick'em over confidence. I don't prefer that. It's just my take on it. But I've done them all. Like, you just got to find what works for you. You got to find if you're in a Survivor, you can have multiple entries, or you can't have multiple entries. You want to diversify that. You don't want to have them all going down with one ship. I think they're all good though.
We'll talk more about that too as we get closer to the NFL season, because I love doing pick'em contests. I think they're a lot of fun. And I've made some good money. Like, I've been in some pools where it's like a $400 buy-in, but if you win a week, then you double your buy-in. It's great.
So you only have to win 1 week. The issue is, last year I was in one where it's like you're chasing down someone and you need them to go. You need them to go like just 500, and you need to have like 4 extra games just to make up the ground to have the following week so you can at least tie them or whatever. It's tough. And you always got to remember to get it in on Thursday.
Yes, that's for sure. NFL preseason, like futures, do you do season long prop?
Yeah, so I do a lot of player props generally, and more often than not, I think it's rational to take a lot of unders, especially on running backs, just based on injuries. One over that did catch my eye was Jalen Hurts over 3,200 passing yards. Their defense got worse this year. Like they lost a lot of players just in free agency. There's a lot of turnover. We're looking back at the past few years at Hurts. Like, yeah, he was over at 36 or 3,900 yards or whatever it was. Seeing what was that 2,900 yards or just over 2,900 yards last year for him to get to 3,200 like really isn't that big of a jump. So if their defense is worse, that means they're going to be playing in games that are closer, which means they can't be running the ball as much. And when we're talking about extra 300 yards compared to last year, it's not like we need that in one game. And granted, you only played in 15 games last year. We're talking about like 30 yards a game, like an extra 30 yards here, 30 yards, 40 yards, whatever it might be. And all of a sudden we're at 30 yards over the course of the entire season. So taking under season long can be profitable just because there's so much attrition based on injuries, but taking specific overs because I'm expecting specific things. Also, a part of me wants to say the Eagles, if they want to back off of Saquon Barkley, like, hey, you don't need to rush for 2,000 yards again. We want you to be healthy because we know what we can do once the playoffs start. That just opens up more passing overall.
I was looking at those season-long props, and I definitely felt like the season-long props for Jalen Hurts over passing yards made so much sense because of that. Like, he didn't go over it last year, obviously, because Saquon was new. Right. Then he was going for the record. But the years before Saquon, Jalen Hurts went over in both of those seasons. I think this number is very low for Jalen Hurts to go over his passing yards.
I would agree. And again, part of the Saquon storyline last year with him going for the record is like, if they were in a situation, this is something we'll never know. Like, how many times did they just happen to call a running play more often than calling a passing play? And like an extra 10 yards here, 10 yards there, extrapolated over 50 plays over the course of the season. Like that adds up. That could have been 10 yards every other time going to Hurts, and it just didn't go to. And the question Earl's asking is safely take the under on Matt Stafford. I don't see at least any Stafford bets, at least on FanDuel right now, but it is rational to say that week one, his unders may be very popular, and therefore Kyren Williams overs could be also very popular.
The Packers news, Jordan Love, their quarterback, he ends up tearing a ligament in his non-throwing hand finger. I'm not concerned about this because it's not his throwing hand. How about you?
When it's all said and done, probably not. Like his touchdowns are still at 25. His passing yards are still at 350, 50. It's probably not an issue. It probably comes down to ball security, like him holding the ball. If he could have like a just overall grasp on it, that could increase his fumbles. I'm not going to say interceptions, but fumbles and ball security. Maybe in the beginning of the season, there's like a slight increase to what we see from Josh Jacobs, but he should still have a big role regardless if Love was healthy or not. So I would say it's probably a non-issue at this point.
Yeah, and like maybe week one you look at that kind of stuff and think that maybe they play a little bit safe, but any week one lines stand out to you that you think so far mispriced?
I think the Patriots had probably one of, and this is not something that I'm like coming up with on my own. This like everyone across the industry is talking about this. That year over year, the Patriots have had one of the largest skill increases and just overall talent from where they were last year to where they were this year. And I understand that the Raiders are better this year, with Geno Smith, obviously with Genti and Pete Carroll. But, if the Pats are truly the team with the increase that we thought, and their win total jumped up from, 4.5 last year. It's now 7.5 this year, if I remember correctly. Like they should be able to cover a 2.5 point spread at home. So that's one I would like. The Cardinals line is interesting. Like they should take care of business because the Saints are going to be terrible this year. But there's also like, again, the rookie head coach with Kellen Moore. It's like they want to go out there and prove something that they're going to try regardless of how good they're going to be.
And then Earl asked, can we safely take the under on anything Matthew Stafford's going to do?
Yeah, if you can get season-long props on Stafford, I would love to have known what those were.
The back issues, it's everything with Stafford.
Yeah, and I don't know what they were prior, like if they were posted earlier in the offseason and they're just not there anymore. But I'd love to know what they were at that point because it's pretty easy. Like we know that McVay loves Kyren Williams. So to see him get 20 plus carries in each of the first 5 weeks before Stafford gets healthier or like into the groove of things would not surprise me. It also would lead me to taking unders on Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua just because they're not going to be passing the ball. Like Puka's still at 1,200. Devontae Adams is at 925. It's reasonable that, yeah, Puka is still awesome, but he just may not have that volume of yards because they're just not passing it, and or Stafford just can't hold up throughout the entire season.
I don't trust Matt Stafford, which is why the way I would play it is to go and bet the 49ers to win the division or the 49ers to win the NFC. Like, I am big on the 49ers this year, Tom.
Okay. That's certainly fine. I don't have a strong take either way. I think the Cardinals will cause more problems in that division than people
really
realize. I think
Cardinals over wins.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Seahawks aren't going to be great. The Rams are a bit of a wild card now. I can understand why people are buying into the 49ers. I'm not saying I'm buying into them or I'm fading them. I'm just completely indifferent, really. I think the Cardinals are going to be better than people realize, and it's going to cause issues in that division.
Why?
I just like what they've done. I just the overall culture. They have a solid set of players. I understand people have their issues with Kyler, like they don't think he's some elite level quarterback, but I do think he is at least serviceable. There's fantastic talent around him. Trey McBride is awesome. Obviously, Marvin Harrison is awesome. Even the duo of James Conner and Trey Benson is super solid. Like, they have an offense. They step things up on defense, and I think they take an extra win here or there from another team. I'm not going to say like they're guaranteed to make the playoffs, but taking an extra win here or there, I think is something they can do.
Tom Vecchio, what are you up to these days? Where can people find you? And obviously aside for here.
Yeah, normal stuff, hosting shows on Sports Grid, Thursday, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, normal stuff.
Glad to see you're still over there. I know there was a lot that went on, so glad that Tom is still over there at Sports Grid. Make sure to check him out. We'll see you again soon, Tom, and good luck tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk some MLB props for today. I do have some stuff from the newsletter that I will show you. This is coming out. Wait, hold on. Add to screen. Why is my screen so... Okay, this is the newsletter for today that's going out soon. But here, I'm going to show you guys matchups to watch for today. Some of these had props that kind of matched it and some didn't. So I'm going to show you guys the ones that... I'm going to show you all the matchups to watch for today in Major League Baseball. I hate that it's like, whatever. Okay, anyway... Jock Peterson, he is 9 for 19, hitting .474 with 2 doubles and 4 home runs against Anthony DeSclafani today. Corey Seager, 5 for 9, hitting .556 with a home run against DeSclafani. It's very juiced at -150, but Seager's over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. Has cashed in 58% of home games against righties. He's averaging just over 2 hits, runs, and RBI and went over in 75% of his last 20 games. Josh Naylor is hitting .667 with a double and a homer against Dean Kramer. At -140, you could get Naylor over a half a single, which is cashed in 58% of games on the road against righties in 6 of the last 10. Randy Arozarena, small sample size, but 3 for 9 with 2 homers against Dean Kramer. J-Rod also hitting well against Dean Kramer, 5 for 8 with a double and a home run. Andrew McCutchen hitting .333 with 2 doubles and a home run against Freddie Peralta. Over a half a hit was -130 for McCutchen. He hit this in 65% of road games against right-handers in 6 of the last 10. Brian Reynolds hitting .389 with 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run. 5 walks against Freddie Peralta. That's also juiced at -150 for a half a hit. But it hit in 60% of road games against righties and 7 of 9 games against the Brewers dating back to last year. He's averaging just about 1.5 hits per game against Milwaukee since the start of 2024. So I'm probably going to add Brian Reynolds to my list for getting a hit today. I got to double check, though, his numbers in Milwaukee. Everyone say hi to Marley. Hi, Marley. Marley wants to EAT. You have 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Gunnar Henderson hitting .462 with a double and a home run against George Kirby. His over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI wasn't too bad. -135 in 61% of home games against righties, averaging 2.5 hits, runs, and RBI per game. It's hit in 7 of his last 10 and all 3 matchups since last season against Seattle. Kyle Tucker, 5 for 15 with a homer against Jose Barrios. Ramon Laureano, 5 for 9 with 2 doubles and a homer against the lefty Robbie Ray. Brandon Nimmo hitting .409 with 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 homers against the great Spencer Strider. No props to go with any of these unders. They were all just way too juiced. But I guess if you're the parlay kind of person, O'Neal Cruz, 1 for 12 with a homer and 2 walks, 3 Ks against Peralta. Remember, these are all just players maybe to just stay away from. Luis Robert Jr., 0 for 10 with 6 Ks against Jack Flaherty. Wilson Contreras, 0 for 10 with 3 walks and 4 Ks against Kyle Freeland, which is weird because he stinks. Brian Hayes hitting 125 with 3 walks and 4 Ks against Ranger Suarez. Fernando Tatis Jr. 0 for with 3 walks, 3 Ks against lefty Robbie Ray. And Pete Alonso struggles against Spencer Strider, hitting 235 with a double, a home run, and 8 strikeouts. So those are the matchups to watch for today in Major League Baseball that I would definitely stay away from. Marley is like, feed me. So other hitter props that I would look at. Let me see. I could actually probably get these. Oh, you guys are talking NFL now. Sorry, I'm back on baseball because I'm back on what's hot for today. I've got 3 other hitter props that stood out to me on props.cash, and then a WNBA prop, and of course I've got pitcher props. Randall Grichuk of the Kansas City Royals, he struggles against lefties, hitting 233. In 70 games against lefties, Grichuk's hit this under in 52 of those 70 games of 1.5 total bases. So I would be looking at Grichuk under 1.5 total bases today. And at home, he's just hitting 229, slumping the last month, hitting 205. So we're fading Randall Grichuk. Another, an underrated name, Toronto's Joey Loperfido. You can go over a half a hit run an RBI at -140 against the Cubs. He's on a tear. He's hitting 429 in the last 2 weeks. Against righties, Loperfido's hitting 373. At home, he's gone over in 7 of 9 games. Loperfido's only played in 27 games this year. And get him while he's hot. The books haven't caught on yet. This is a very low number for a player that's on a hot streak. There's another underrated name, Bryce Teodosio of the Angels. Bryce go over a half a hit run an RBI, -140. He's another young name, hitting 316 against righties. 412 at home in 17 at-bats. He's gone over a half a hit run an RBI in 4 of 6 home games, 5 of 7 overall against right-handers. He's averaging 1.3 hits, runs, and RBI. A half is just way too low. The book hasn't really caught on. So I would be looking at Bryce Teodosio of the Angels to go over a half hit, run, and RBI. In the W tonight, before I give you, actually, I'll give you pitcher props now. There were 3 pitcher props that stood out, only 1 strikeout prop. The strikeout, oh, actually, sorry, 2. No, sorry, they were all 3 strikeout props. Damn it, never mind. I was thinking of yesterday. Cubs righty, Ben Brown, under 4.5 strikeouts. So Brown's faced 3 low K rate teams this year. He went under in 2 of 3 starts. If you've been following with the newsletter, then you would know. We only take unders against Blue Jays. When you've got a starter on the mound against Toronto, we go under. I don't know what Marley's doing. This season, right-handers, 35 overs, 47 unders, averaging 4 strikeouts a game against the Jays. So I would go look at Ben Brown to go under his strikeout prop for the Cubs. Washington's lefty Mitchell Parker, over 3.5 Ks, was at plus money. And he's gone over 3.5 Ks in 12 of 14 starts against teams with high strikeout rates against lefties. This is another lefty-righty split thing. The Royals don't strike out much against righties, but they do against lefties. And since the All-Star break, lefty starters, 6, 4, 7, and 8 strikeouts against the Royals. Lefties. 14 overs and 8 unders overall this year against Kansas City, averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game. With those drastic lefty-righty splits, you've got an edge. Mitchell Parker is going to go over in plus money, a very low number of 3.5 Ks. Giants lefty Robbie Ray, under 5.5 Ks for him against the Padres. I wouldn't say this is my favorite play because we know that Robbie Ray's had a great year. But he went he went over already against the Padres. And you know me, I just don't think that if something shouldn't have happened, it probably won't happen again. Robbie Ray, under 5.5 Ks, because if you're going to give me, and he got 9 strikeouts that game against the Padres. So why the hell is this number 5.5? Lefties, 14 overs, 22 overs, 14 overs, 22 unders for lefties when facing the Padres. They average just over 4 strikeouts a game. 9 of the last 10 Southpaw starters to face the Padres went under 5.5. I'm going under 5.5 Ks here on Robbie Ray, minus 130. WNBA, this is the only prop that stood out to me. Again, another play where these two played, the Wings and the Fever. This game's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So the Wings and Fever played August 1st. Haley Jones went under this in her last matchup, but she's been great. She's averaging 13 points plus rebounds in her last 10 games. Jones has gone over 11.5 points plus rebounds in 7 of the last 10. The Fever's defense has been struggling, allowing the 4th most points per game in the last 10 games. Beckers, she actually had a great game last game. Haley Jones did not. And when the same two teams play within a 2-week span, typically, the roles reverse. So to me, it's a Haley Jones game tonight. So we're going over 11.5 points plus rebounds. That's funny, Mark. That was funny. He disappeared, by the way. Completely disappeared. Not even here for the cause. The cause is prop bets, and he's not even here for it. Marley, what are you doing? Marley. I don't know what she's doing. Anyway, I don't think I have any propaganda. Let me double check that real quick. College football, NFL futures, WNB. Nope. Okay, no propaganda for today. And I don't have. Oh, that's what I forgot to do today was fishy lines. Damn it! Forgot to do fishy lines. All right, let's get to Royal Locks. My Royal Lock of the day, I'm going back to Mitchell Parker. We are going with the over 3.5 strikeouts. The number for Mitchell Parker is way too low today. The net starter has gone over this in 12 of 14 games against teams with high K rates against lefties. Since the All-Star break, lefties have had 6, 4, 7, and 8 strikeouts against the Royals. Lefties, 14 overs, 8 unders when facing Kansas City, averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game. This number makes no sense. We're going over 3.5 Ks in plus money for Mitchell Parker tonight of the Washington Nationals. I like it. I'm going to leave the show early today because I have to get something done for work that's actually paying me. Eventually, though, I heard from my agent that this show might have another sponsor coming soon. So I'm very excited for that. Very excited. Why don't I like Nasty Nestor today? I'll tell you. So yes, the Giants do strike out more against lefties. What was it about? I think it was just the sample size that bothered me with Nestor and being on the road. He's thrown 3 games and now he's on the road. I don't know. I don't hate it. I think it was just a sample size problem for me that we haven't seen him that much yet. And I think the Giants recently, if I'm not mistaken, so outside, yeah, that's also the thing. So for the Giants, Mackenzie Gore had 10. Then Andrew Heaney had 1. Peterson had 4. Falter had 1. Peterson had 4. And then Lauer had 7. And I think Nestor is more on the Lauer Gore side than he would be of the Peterson and Heaney side. But I get a little worried that we haven't seen too much of Nasty Nestor yet. Is it capable of hitting? Absolutely. Would I say to bet an under? Absolutely not. It's over or nothing there. I just like a little bit more of a sample size than what we've seen so far out of Nasty Nestor. Baz, 5.5 Ks. Let me look at Baz real quick. I didn't even realize he was pitching today. Tampa Bay at the Athletics. Oh, wait. I did actually have him in here. Because the A's, 7 of the last 10 righty starters to face the A's went under 5.5 strikeouts. So that's why I didn't like Sheet. Oh, you said the under. Sorry. Yeah. And the only reason I don't bet it is because overall this season, the Athletics are averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game against righties, which is on the higher side. So that tells me that right now they're very inconsistent. And I don't like inconsistency. So the Athletics, even though recently they've been going under a lot, which you could take advantage of that trend as long as you'd like, the under makes sense based on how the Athletics have been recently. But what scares me is that they still overall on the season are averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game against righties. So I don't hate it. I think that with the trend of the Athletics right now, the under with Baz on the road makes a lot of sense. I don't hate it. It's just the reason I didn't bet it. Guardians, Before you leave the line, not fishy, it's going up and down. Let me look real quick. Oh, okay, Loperfido not playing tonight. That sucks. Just keep his name in mind because he's been great. I have the lines from last night, so let me see if it's fishy. So you were looking at Guardians. So Guardians were minus 136 last night on FanDuel. Today, the Guardians. Oh, it's still minus 136 on FanDuel. I haven't seen that line move there. It's going up and down, you said. Here's the problem when things go up and down, though. This happens with the Dodgers a lot. When the line's going up and down, it's telling you that the sharps were trying to, like, there's usually sharp groups involved. So, like, Yanni the Greek always talks about this. The sharp groups will buy in at a certain number. Yeah. So the sharp groups are messing with that game. And that's why, like, a lot of the times you'll see the sharp groups will be messing with a number where they'll buy in because they feel like it's a good number to buy in on, that they'll buy it so much to the point that then they'll get the other side down to a number they want, and then they put more money on the other side, if that makes sense. So let's say, for example, the sharps really like the Marlins today. So they'll buy in on the Guardians to the point that let's say they like the Guardians today. So let's say they'll buy in on the Marlins, get that Guardians number down to the point that they like it, and then they'll buy in more on the Guardians. Like, does that make sense what I'm saying? So I think that there's a lot of manipulation going on when you see the number fluctuating like that back and forth, whereas fishy lines is more about the number goes in one direction completely and stays there. So when you see that a line's fluctuating like that, the sharp groups are messing with it. Joseph Rodriguez likes the Blue Jays today. Barrios at home, right? So I don't mind the Blue Jays with Barrios at home. Where is that line? Yeah, so that's been bad. Blue Jays last night were minus 124, and now it's minus 130. I only bet Barrios at home. I will never bet Barrios on the road, but I will bet Barrios at home. So I don't mind that at all. No way I could bet the Dodgers. Yeah, I'm staying away from that. No way. Anyway, so best bet today, Royal Lock of the day is Mitchell Parker over 3.5 strikeouts in plus money. I love that play. Robbie Ray is either an under or a stay away because he had the 9 strikeouts against the Padres last time, and now his prop's 5.5 against a team that really doesn't strike out much anyway. So I think Robbie Ray has a rough one today. And then Ben Brown, if you do want to, even though it's not even Ben Brown, sorry, I don't know why I'm saying Ben Brown now. They changed it to Assad. So Ben Brown's not even in anymore. So I have to get rid of that. It was supposed to be Ben Brown today for the Cubs, and now it's not. So with Assad in, that prop now no longer exists. So forget about that. So those are my 2 favorite strikeout props for tonight, everybody. Yankees. You think I'm going to give out a Yankees play, dude? Yankees at home against the Twins. I don't even know who's starting for the Twins, to be honest. Adams. Rodon should have a good game today. I do like Rodon. And the Twins are another team with drastic lefty-righty splits against for strikeouts. They don't strike out at all against righties, but they do strike out against lefties. I was tempted by the Rodon over 6.5 Ks, but I stayed away. But I don't mind it at all. But I think Rodon does have success against the Twins tonight. So I don't hate the Yankees today either. But it's minus 220. And I don't bet run lines on home team. So, yeah, if you like team total, go for it. Or maybe a Twins team total under. Or first 5 under. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go feed my dog. I've got to go finish the newsletter. I've got to do some other stuff for work. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have a really nice, fun announcement because we've got some big partnerships in the works. I'm really excited, but I can't get too excited because in this industry, they get you excited and then they tear you down and they break your heart. So I'm not going to say anything until ink is signed. By football season, though, this thing should be up and running and ready to go. Join the Splash Sports contest, guys. Splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. It is $15, and you can make up to 15K. So spread the news because you have about an hour now to get in. Get in your hit props. All you have to do is tell me who's going to get a hit today, and you could win 15 grand. Well, you have to survive the survivor pool, but it's a lot of fun. Good luck to your best tonight. See you guys tomorrow.